Get ready to fight from within. You're about to go behind enemy lines.
Roger, 3-2. Goliath copies all. Go ahead. Target is surrounded by multiple firms entering what appears to be a residential area. Requesting permission to engage. Over.
From the People's Republic of New York City, you're now going behind enemy lines with Gene Baradelli and Russ Gallo. And you are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Baradelli here with you. So glad you be with us, whether you're joining us at www.behindenemylinesradio.us, or if you're checking us out on AM radio, FM radio, the internet radio, we're glad to be with you. Or if we're traveling along with you as a podcast, we're glad to be along for the ride. Russ Gallo in the house. Russ, how you doing, my brother?
Gene B, what up?
Hey, is it true? Are the rumors true? Are you now a godfather?
I am.
Congratulations.
Can you believe it?
You took some responsibility.
My little brother. Right? I'm like scared to death. I gotta keep my brother alive forever.
That's exactly right. I felt the same way with my sister. Congratulations to you and to Jack, your little nephew. Uncle Russ, good job. I'm glad to see you taking some responsibility, because, you don't normally do that. Yeah, right. You take responsibility for everything.
Listen, I appreciate that. I was like caught off guard for a second because we didn't discuss this earlier, and I was like, wow, I don't have Facebook. How the hell does he know this?
Oh, listen, you may not have Facebook, but the entire Gallo clan does, and the photos are out there.
That's great.
But listen, that's great stuff. Congratulations. Welcome to the club.
All right, let's talk about business here. Forget about the Godfather.
Well, listen, I'm about to make a segue because this ties into business. Later on in the show, we're going to be talking to Chris Casamassa. You may remember him as Scorpion in the Mortal Kombat movies. He was George Clooney's stunt double in Batman and Robin. You may remember from some other martial arts shows. We're talking about his new program, Bullyproof Fitness. This pertains to you, Russ, in a couple of years when you start worrying about, little Jack going to school and whatever. I'm dealing with it now with Marcos and always worried about bullying and stuff like that. A nice little non-political segue. And we're talking about the future of the country. We got to talk about what's going on with this caravan heading towards Texas.
What's the story with this caravan? I mean, how is it possible, Gene, for arguably close upwards of 10,000 people to randomly come together and walk thousands of miles? Like, do they not? Like, I don't understand, Gene. None of them work? None of them have jobs. None of them have, responsibility. None of them have pets at home. Like, how are they doing this? I don't get it.
Well, they probably do have nothing, Russ. And, the numbers, like you said, anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000, more being picked up along the way. Listen, something like this, I agree with you, doesn't not get organized, right? There's got to be a central hive mind that is coordinating all of this. And, they're caravanning to the border. Hurricane Willa be damned. And, President Trump has taken a very hard line, even threatening to rescind financial aid to Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador, all nations where not only may be the origin of some of these immigrants, but also places where they could have been stopped on their way to us.
And Gene, so amongst those brown people, and this is not like making light of race,
and that's not racist at all, because
no,
there are.
But the question I have is, let me just lead into this real quick before you go back. Amongst all these brown people coming on foot from these random countries you just described, how many of them are from the Middle East? Out of curiosity, do we know?
Well,
does anyone know?
We have no clue. In fact, President Trump had a part of his press conference outside today before he went to Texas for the rally with Ted Cruz, which we'll talk about as well. He actually said that. He said, why don't you reporters going out there into the heart of these this caravan and see how many people are actually from the Middle East. Listen, there have been reports for years about how the southern border is so porous that, people have been taken into custody and found to have money from the Middle East on them. And, it's not a figment of the president's imagination. But the left, of course, is using that as a dog whistle for saying, oh, President Trump's a racist.
And, Gene, we've actually covered this back in the old Brooklyn GOP radio days. We used to talk about the OTMs that they were catching along the border other than Mexicans. And they would catch lots of people from the Middle East, from various countries. When I see these people on TV every day, they look like relatively well-fed, able-bodied young men. Most of them. So where are the Democrats on this, Gene? I'm curious. I haven't heard any of them really speak up.
Well, it's an election year, Russ. Where do you think they're on this? These are unregistered Democrats heading their way, right?
No, but I'm not even talking about I haven't seen any Democrat say anything. Why? They're not even saying like they should come. They're just absent on the issue. I see the media and we know where they stand. But what prominent Democrat has said anything about this caravan?
Well, I think that many prominent Democrats who are facing re-election may not want to go on record with this, Russ.
That's what I think.
They're so close to election and they've seen the Kavanaugh backlash that they don't want to hit another wedge issue on the way to possible re-election.
So is what you're saying that the Democrats cannot tell their voters what they actually think or stand for? Is that what you're saying?
The ones who are in tight races cannot. No, absolutely not.
I love it.
That's the way it goes.
I
right?
love it. In a tight race, the Democrats can't tell the voters what they actually stand for. That is brilliant.
Well, isn't that what James O'Keefe and Project Veritas have been telling us about? The candidate in Tennessee that's running against Marsha Blackburn, Claire McCaskill. We're seeing this all over the place. We can't talk about these issues because we don't want to alienate middle of the road Democrats and center right Republicans that we need to cross over. So of course they're scared of that, Russ. They want to get reelected. How else do you feed the machine, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at Drudge right now, and I see a picture of an American flag with a SWAT sticker painted over it, burning. And it says, Hondurans paint a SWAT sticker on an American flag and set it on fire. These are people part of this caravan coming our way. And
even
we should welcome
Reagan the cat is upset about this. I hear Reagan the cat
you heard him in the background. He's screaming about there. My cat is upset over flag burning. That's how good of a cat I am.
Cats matter, Russ. Black cats matter.
He is black.
There you go. Don't be racist. Don't be racist up in here. But
so,
think about this, Russ. Just think about thousands of these people. Like many of them, like you said, able bodies, many of them families. Imagine if they actually stayed in their country and tried to make a difference by going to their governments to make things better, to get reform there, to get aid there, to make sure it hits the ground there. Instead, they're marching for a handout. And, some would argue a hand up. I would argue a handout. Because they're coming here for not only asylum, quote unquote, and how do we know those claims are legit or not? But they're also coming here for financial assistance and money that they will then do what, Russ? Send back home and out of our economy.
100%, Gene, because I saw you do a little stutter step there when you said handout versus hand up. Because as a white male, especially Christian and heterosexual, we're always like nervous. Somebody's going to think we're racist. Listen, hand up, hand out, right? So it's clear they're coming here for a handout. You know how it's provable? They're coming from south of Mexico. Mexico is better than where they came from. Why don't they stop in Mexico? If all they wanted was a hand up, Mexico's a hand up. But they don't want a hand up. They want a handout, which is why they're trying to get through Mexico to come here.
It may also have to do with Mexico will not tolerate them just coming to their border and staying. They're okay with them being a way station and heading through, but they won't tolerate, these people at their border because they have more strict immigration laws.
Yeah, well, isn't that funny? That did you see the pictures of the bridge that connects Guatemala to Mexico?
I did.
There's fences, there's military, there's police down there. But somehow we're not supposed to do that on our southern border? I mean, that's a little unfair, don't you think?
It's a lot unfair. What's even more unfair are those people out there who are complaining about President Trump justifying his reason for wanting to place military on the border. We both like to talk about the Constitution, Russ. This is part of the sovereign power that's inherent to the president. And the Supreme Court has said this. Even though we all know Russ doesn't like the Supreme Court, they ended up on the Russ Gallo side of things on this one. Because now, ever since the 50s, they've held that, the sovereign power of the nation vests not only with the legislature, but when it comes to the border, before an alien gets here and attempts to get here, the president has the power to deal with this issue. And it's almost unlimited power by virtue of the sovereignty of the nation. But yet you'll still hear people saying, oh, President Trump's a racist and all these dog whistles. He said Middle Eastern, that's a dog whistle and a signal that he should. No, President Trump can do this by virtue of the sovereignty of this nation, and it is absolutely legal. He doesn't have to give you a reason, right, Russ?
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, we throw around the word invasion, but what is an invasion? I mean, an invasion, this is that. I mean, you don't have to be wearing army helmets to invade another country. We have thousands of people coming here, come hell or high water, be damned what our law is, and they're coming. And I can't wait to see what this confrontation is going to look like when they get to our border crossing. Are they going to assault our border patrol? God help them if they try to assault the military. I really don't think the military under Trump will allow these people to come through without using some force to repel them. But I even heard, Geraldo Rivera on TV tonight, the fool that he is, saying, what are we going to do? Shoot him? I don't know. I will tell him not to come. And if they use force, you escalate force appropriately to repel. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You're burning our flags. You're coming here with ISIS possibly mixed in, in your midst. You're not coming in. That's it. Sorry.
But Russ, what we're going to end up seeing, and, far be it for me to actually talk about a higher power on the air, but, God may be taking care of this caravan himself, because there's a hurricane a-coming, and it's going to impact right where they're going to be crossing the border. Maybe a little bit of divine intervention here, Russ.
Gene, didn't you get in trouble some years ago for invoking God or what'd you call it, Jesus something at a strip bar? What were you doing?
Yes, when we went to Value Voters and we said we had to wipe the Jesus off of us from that because we went
God.
A gentleman's club. Yeah.
I sense we're going to get hate mail from this group again. So Gene thinks that God is going to
smite. The word is smite. Russ, if people want to send their hate mail, they can send it to gbaradelli@gmail.com or check us out at www.behindenemylinesradio.us and go to the Contact Us section, and we're happy to receive your hate mail.
Jeez. So, Gene, let me ask you this.
Do not say geez. You just made me get in trouble. Now you're going to get in trouble. Great. The whole show's gone now.
Remember when Trump said that, some immigrants are not coming here for the best intentions, that, there's some bad hombres, rapists, murderers. Some. He did say some. The media makes it sound like he said all Mexicans, but that was not true. Oddly enough, Gene, I don't know if you follow the news out of Brooklyn like I do, but do you remember this pizza delivery guy that got arrested for illegal immigrant?
Yes.
Trying to deliver pizza to Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn, New York, and Army of Garrison.
I've been following the story very closely, and, if I follow the news correctly, it seems that this gentleman has been arrested again for domestic violence in Hempstead, on Long Island.
So he just got arrested for beating his wife after we were to believe he's just a hardworking family man. The cruel, heartless army and ICE agents